My name is Rome. I'm 24 years old. I've been suffering from addiction for 8 years. Growing up to me, seemed pretty normal. I was raised by my father and my mother. I had a little brother and an older sister, so I was the middle child. Went to school every morning from the South, so everybody goes to church on Sundays. Addiction wasn't much of a problem in my family growing up. Actually, it wasn't a problem at all. Nobody in my family suffers from addiction or alcoholism besides myself. I mean, the start of my using goes back to when I was about probably 13 years old. I mean, I would go through my parents' refrigerator when they were at work and take a beer or pour a shot for myself, whatever the case may be. So I started out just, I think it was out of curiosity. I remember actually going back to when I was real young. My dad, when he would be cutting the yard and he would get done, he would ask me, "Hey, could you go get me an adult beverage?" And in my mind, I didn't know what that was. I just thought it was a Pepsi for adults. Um, so then, as I grew older, I kind of would see the effects that this adult beverage would have on people. Okay, if they have three or four of these, they start to laugh more, enjoy more of what's going on around them. So I think curiosity is well, I don't think I do know that curiosity is what initially led me to my first drink, and from there, curiosity just began to, grow more and more as I got older. I always hung out with the older kids. So when I was 13, I was hanging out with people, 15, 16, 17, who were all driving on the weekends to go, party or drink or whatever. So um, the older I got, the older the people I was hanging out with were to it. So they started to do more and more stuff. So at about 14, I took my first Xanax bar. And from there, I realized that, I loved the way it felt. It was no longer curiosity. I was just wanting to feel good because I wasn't really comfortable with myself. I was the class clown, and back, when I was younger, that was a good thing. I was actually a popular kid in school. So I didn't really have, it's not like I was bullied or anything. It was just, but I wasn't happy with myself and the way I felt with myself. So I just would use, on the weekends, alcohol or pills to just kind of get me outside of myself, make me become more of the life of the party, until it just started passing out at places I didn't know where I was, waking up, had no idea, like I said, where I was or who was with me, how I got there. Um, you know, it just started, it got out of control pretty fast, honestly, for me, real fast. I didn't realize it was a problem till my first time getting arrested when I was 17. Um, I, in retrospect, I had a huge problem prior to that when I was going into, my parents' purse or wallet to take money out to go buy pills or weed, or beer. So, like I said, in retrospect, I had a problem way, 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 way before I even had that first arrest. I moved out of my parents' house when I turned 16, and they basically said, you can continue to live here and drop the things you're doing, or you can leave. And so as a 16-year-old I was like, okay, well, if you're going to give me the option, I'm going to leave and keep doing what I'm doing because I'm having fun. Um, I dropped out of school when I was 17. My dad would kept telling me, if you keep down the road you're on, even with him not even having experience with this, just he saw the way I was living. He said, it's a matter of time before you're going to be arrested. And so then, sure enough, right then, a few months later, I ended up getting my first arrest and having to call him and everything. And so that was when I initially found out, that okay, hey, this has gotten out of control. Now I'm doing stuff that's drawing attention to the police. So I'm drawing the wrong attention. I wanted the approval of my peers. Now I'm getting the attention of the police. And to me, that was when in my mind at first, I realized that it was an issue. I was just breaking into a lot of cars. I caught several breaking and entering charges. Um, Basically, I became under investigation because of these, and I was being investigated for about a month and a half, and then eventually had a warrant issued for my arrest, and it was initially 7 felonies that I had, and they were dropped down to two, and those are still remaining on my record forever. On my 18th birthday, I entered my first treatment, and in right outside Atlanta, Georgia. And shortly following my discharge from there, I did my first shot of heroin. And I knew that, I didn't think at this point, I think heroin was cool, but I had never actually done an IV drug before. I was just taking a lot of pills and smoking and drinking. Um, there's been a lot of darkness, very, very little light, very little positivity, very little fun that came out of using over the last 4 years. It's just been survival. I was selling weed in Tennessee, and I went to go sell a pretty decent amount to somebody, and basically they came walking up to the car. It was the person who I was selling to had a friend with them, and came walk up to the car and ended up putting a pistol to my girlfriend's head for the weed. Um, had me shook up, had me not very happy. Not, it was scary. But even before that, I mean, there was times where I was in houses that were cooking up drugs and selling them, and people ran in the house with guns, and I'm literally found myself crouched like kind of behind a couch, screaming in terror for my life, yelling, "Please don't hurt me! Please don't hurt me!" Which, people in this when they get into drugs, they think they're very tough and hard. But when you find yourself in a situation like that, you quickly realize that you're not. I think staying clean is hard. I mean, for different people, there's different reasons. For me personally, it's always been, you know, I I'm trying to mask first of all, the stuff that I've done to other people. When I think back on those moments, that's first of all not stuff I would ever do in my right state of mind. But knowing that I've done those actions, it's still, it haunts me. It hurts me to think about the just the stuff I've done to other people. So I use it to take away all feelings. I've lost so many people to this disease. So it's just a masking agent for me. I use it just to cover up what my real feelings, which those feelings have to, whether they're painful or not, need to come out, need to be felt so that they can be worked through. But I as an addict, my MO is, okay, I don't like the way I'm feeling at all, so I'm gonna go get high over this so I don't have to feel it, which in reality just, makes things all the more worse. Since I was 18 is when my 18th birthday is when I entered my first rehab. So 6 years that I've really been trying to get clean off and on. And I've gone through periods of abstinence but I've never had actual genuine sobriety where I was so happy with my life. People you hear people speak of in Narcotics Anonymous or Alcoholics Anonymous. I never was able to quite find that serenity. I just was able to put down the drug, which for me is only about 15 to 20% of the problem, and that other 80% is internal stuff. My character defects, as they say. I have a lot of those. And so I would have changed my group of friends up from the very beginning, because I knew the people I was hanging out with were not doing what they were supposed to be doing, the right thing. They were not excelling in school. They were not holding jobs or even able to do work. And so I mean, I would just completely change up everything about my friends, my whereabouts, and listen to my parents or my someone wiser with me with much more life experience. Maybe not life experience with addiction, but just life experience in general, because that's a very beautiful gift to have is life experience. Don't listen to your friends who are trying to convince you to smoke a little weed or take a pill or take a drink. Don't fall into peer pressure, because peer pressure will get you killed very quickly, especially in this day and age. People who are doing drugs aren't making it to see 20. They're not making it to see, definitely not 30. So don't just forget about what everybody says. And most people have an intuition. They know right from wrong, no matter how they were raised, how you were raised, right from wrong. You just do. I would just steer clear from anything that you think could possibly derail you from your aspirations and your goals in life. Because if you go down this road, none of those things will happen. Not one of those goals will happen. I can promise that. You will more than likely pick up felony charges, which will hold you back from your future goals for sure if you make it that far. And like I said, though, chances are you won't make it that far. With the drugs people are using nowadays, you don't live. You just don't. I've lost more people than I ever could have imagined I would have lost from this stuff. I've been a taker for a long time. I didn't care how I had to take. I just took. And I'm so sick of that. I'm disgusted with myself with things that I've done. So I just have to change my whole entire mentality that I've had for the past 6 to 8 years, which is difficult, but very possible because I see walking examples on a daily basis. I have a job working for the state of Tennessee that I was blessed to get, even with my record. So I have my job to look forward to. I have a wonderful meeting that I attend, a Narcotics Anonymous meeting that I have a lot of good friends in. I have a wonderful family who's there to support me. I have just a lot of support that's there for me. All I have to do is take it one day at a time, and someone told me that sobriety, it's never owned, it's only rented, and rent's due every single day. So, you have to be sharp, you have to be vigilant, you can't slip back into any old habits, and you can only you can't just stop using. That's not going to be good enough. You have to stop that and start putting on good behavior. Do esteemable acts. Instead of taking from people, try giving back. What, that had to be money or anything. Just help someone. Be a kind, good person. Put out goodness, and it will come back. It will come back to you.